Okay, so before I start up the guide for the route, I kind of just want to go through on what you should be setting up before the run starts. So if I just go to the checklist, I'll start off with the titles. So status for Lloyd. The optimal choice is Berserker, but if you don't have it, you can also go with, let's see if I can find it, the Eternal Swordsman, which you will get through the story mode, so you'll have that no matter what. Next up, let's go over to Colette so we can just go in order. Your optimal choice is Little Pickpocket, but if you don't have that, which you get by using Item Rover 400 plus times, so if you don't have that, again, you can use a story mode one, which is Spiritual Reborn. That's our next best option. I also forgot to mention, back with Lloyd, the Berserker title is done by getting 256 encounters on Hard or Mania mode. So it's easy to farm up, just like go to Azalea, set it on Mania, and just start grinding out. Alright, next up, Genus. This one, you don't have a choice, because Mana Master is the title that you get when you get Meteor Storm, and you must have Meteor Storm, so that will be the title you use for him. Next I'll hit up Rain. Wise Woman is my personal choice. The other option would be Monster Collector. Wise Woman is gotten by hitting level 100, Monster Collector is gotten by finishing the entire monster list, so Wise Woman is also easier to get, so you might as well just go with it. If you don't have either of those, though, your next best option is to go with Professor, which you get at level 40, so you should be able to have that. Next up will be Sheena. Now, Sheena doesn't really matter, but her best option is definitely Treasure Hunter, by a decent margin. You get Treasure Hunter by getting every single chest in every single dungeon, which is a massive pain, and honestly, Sheena is not, even though it's a huge upgrade for Sheena, it won't actually do much for you because it doesn't help her stats all that much. Your next best options are, find it, Rose of Battle, which you will get by clearing the Advanced Coliseum with her. And if you don't have that as well, if you don't have that either, you could also do Acrobat, which you get at level 40. Next up is Gilgamesh, or Zelos. His best title is Gilgamesh. And this is kind of one that's a little bit difficult to get. In order to get Gilgamesh, you have to fight a battle equipping the Excalibur, Golden Helm, Golden Armor, Hyper Gauntlet, or Blue Shield, and the Jet Boots. I don't want to go into exactly where to get all of those items, so you can look up guides all over the place. The one thing I will say is that the Golden Armor, there's a little, it's a little vague when you try and look it up where to get the Golden Armor to get the title. You get it from Koton at Hakunosha Peak. But you can only do it after you have done the Spiritus Statue side quest way back in the beginning of the game. So make sure you've done that. That's the side quest that links you to being able to get it. And I don't remember exactly, yeah, just do that. For your other options, you can go with Princess Guard, which you will get from doing the Princess Getting Kidnapped concept, or Princess Getting Kidnapped side quest. There we go. Your next option would be Grand Champion, which you would get by clearing the Advanced Coliseum. This is one you probably want to get, though. You probably want to spend the time to get Gilgamesh, because it is a big upgrade for him. Next up will be Presea. Bursting Girl is your best choice, you get at level 100. If you don't have that, you can use Empty Soul, which you get from doing the Devil's Arm side quest. Honestly, I think Bursting Girl might be easier to get than doing that at a lower level. The other option is Deadly Flower, which you would get from clearing the Advanced Coliseum. So, even though these are like said to be the easier options, I would think Bursting Girl is probably the easiest to get. Next up is Regal. Perfect Battler is his best option. Again, you get at level 100. If you don't have that, Battle Artist is your next best bet. You get at level 40. Now, I can't show you the other character that you would have. So the other character would be Kratos for his title. Your best bet for Kratos is the Conqueror title, which you get from clearing the Advanced Coliseum, which means you have to do at least one playthrough where you get Kratos instead of Zelos in order so that you can go to the Coliseum with Kratos. If you don't have that at all, you can also use the Battle God title, which you get at level 40, which he should have gotten if you, like when he rejoins you for the Azalea Island Ranch, you should be able to get the Battle God title there. So it's not a huge deal if you don't have Conqueror. Alright, so next up will be EX skills. So this is the... Lloyd has a lot of options. This is my personal favorite setup. The personal and strong. First of all, you must have personal for the mobility. You must have ability plus so that you can use your combos correctly. Strong makes you a little bit stronger, and also with that combo gives you critical up. Follow up just makes it a little bit easier to keep up infinite chains with Lloyd, because it's really not easy to do with him. Another option is you could replace follow up with add combo, or you could replace it with taunt in order to get L Unison. You could also replace... There's a lot of options. You can replace it with Eternal to get over limit, I think. I don't know, there's a lot of options. Look up. I recommend this, but just do what you want. Lloyd is not all that picky, as so long as you have ability plus and personal. So next up is Colette. There's really two options for Colette, and this option is by far the best option. So what this option allows you to do is, first of all, you have Pow Hammer, which will give you a random chance of poisoning, which is pretty awesome. The other thing is you're 2 clicks away from getting Item Getter, which will mean you have a guaranteed success rate of stealing items from the Penguiness, which will save you up to like 40 seconds. So that's actually really huge. Personal is required because of the Holy Ball duration. The other option is to go with a method that gives you more experience for your party, but over the entire run, you'll only end up with like 3 or 4 more levels, so it's really not worth it to go for the experience route, especially as you lose the Item Getter ability. So now we'll go with Genus. This is the setup you'll want for the beginning of the game, and you do want an EX Max, like an EX Gem Max, on this first slot with Spirit. The rest of these will stay the same like this. This will give you reduced TP during battles, which allows you to do a couple stuff in the early beginning of the game. Randomizer is both the worst and best thing in the game, and then Magic Boost just makes you do more. This will later be changed out for Speedcast, which Reducer, that doesn't matter, but Speedcast does, because that will make you cast faster. But you want to start the game with Spirit. Alright, next up will be Rain. Rain is one of those characters where it really doesn't matter what you choose. I like this method because it gives her a little bit more damage output, and you're really only using her for a damage output on like 2 battles, so... well, 3 battles, I guess. So, that's the option I choose, but it's not really strict. Oops. Next up is Sheena. Again, hers don't matter so much so long as you have her personal. This is a must. You must have her personal. Also, I forgot to mention, with Colette and with Sheena, you want their personal to be on the very first slot so that it's easy to change when you need it. I have 2 different options in the route. This one is the one that I use. Gives you a little bit of experience buff. Also gives you a small chance to keep your units engaged. The other option is to spec her in a way that maximizes her damage output, but her damage output is still really low, so it feels like a waste to me. Alright, so Zelos and Kratos. These are like, this is what you will use, and it is the same for both of them. There's not real. You can possibly change a couple things out, but this is really the only. Like, this is by far the best, so just use this. Next up is Presea. Glory is overpowered, so you use it. Then you have Regal. Again, Glory is overpowered, so you use it. It requires you to have all 4 of those. Same with Presea, so that's just what you use. Alright, so now to go over the techs. You want the AI tech uses to be as I have them here. There are a couple things that you can do differently. You can activate some of these higher level techs. The reason I don't is that it can really screw you up early on in the game. Also, keep in mind that I have this tech glitched, so that I have Fierce Demon Fang and Demonic Chaos. I also have this tech glitched, so that I have Twin Tiger Blade and Tiger Rage. I also have Hurricane Thrust, which you will never use as Lloyd, but it's turned on for his AI to use. The only other thing is you want no Sword Rain abilities, and you want both Hunting Beast and Psy Tempest. This will minimize your menu inputs so that you can get Rising Falcon in 1 less input than if you didn't have Hunting Beast. Also, you want Psy Tempest because when you use Tempest, you don't want to be using Psy Tempest. Another thing is that you'll see all of the skills that you will ever use are maxed out at 250 or more uses. That's because every 50 uses you get plus 1% damage up to 250 uses. So you want 250 or more on every skill that you use. Alright, so I'll go to Colette next. Colette doesn't have a lot that's really required. You want Ray Thrust, you want Pow Hammer, you want Paraball, and really nothing else. That's all you'll need for this. I do have Triple Ray Satellite and activated, as well as Hammer Rain and Torrential Paraball, which was done with the tech glitch. This allows it so when you see down, when you're setting up her skills, you'll land directly on Item Thief. I believe you could also not tech glitch this though, and when you see down, you would still land on Item Rover. So either way, you don't have to tech glitch for her. Next up will be Genus. The important skills for Genus is you want Aqua Laser, you want the Explosion line, you'll have Air Blade but you won't use it, you'll have Grave but you won't use it, you want to have learned Thunderblade but you do not want to have Indignation, so make sure you have that. You won't ever be using Thunderblade, but you want it as a menu input. You also have Freelancer, you won't use it. A couple other things are just kind of there because you have them. Absolute is very important that you have, as that will be Genus's main self-casting ability. Prism Sword is also another one you want to make sure you have, as you'll be randomizing it in a couple of situations. Meteor Storm is your bread and butter, you'll randomize that for a lot. So you must have this, you must have this, you must have this. And you must have this, and you must have this. The menu inputs aren't super important to have everything else exactly as I have it, but it will save you. This is the optimal input of how you set things up. Next up is go to rain. Rain. The only thing you want is photon. You also need purify, but there's no way to not have. Well, I guess you could not have purify, but you want purify, you want photon. And she should only ever be using photon, so just keep it at that. Now, let's see. Next up is Sheena. The only skills that she should be allowed to use is Mirage Seal, because decreasing their... actually, this should be different, I think. Yes, it should be Serpent Seal, not Mirage Seal, sorry. I might actually need to change this. Huh. Okay, so you want Serpent Seal, you should have, oh yeah, so I have Serpent Seal, absolutely, okay. So, you want Serpent Seal, and you want Power Seal Absolute. This is just because Sheena is terrible, her stats are awful, so she's not going to be doing anything. You might as well hope for stat drops. You also want to make sure all of her summons are turned off. As tempting as they are to use, they will waste you a lot of time. So, I believe Zelos next. Okay, Zelos and Kratos will be set up the same way. Demon Fang, Fierce Demon Fang, Lightning Blade, Super Lightning Blade. The difference is, Kratos will have Hurricane Thrust, whereas Zelos will not. You want Zelos to not have Hurricane Thrust at all, Kratos will have it. The rest of this does not matter. So, then we'll go to Persea. You want the full Destruction line, and you want the full Punishment line, up to Rising Punishment and Infinite Destruction. You don't want any other abilities, so forget everything else. Finally, Regal. You want Crescent Moon is important, but I don't think you can avoid that. You want Triple Kick, and you want Eagle Rage. The rest does not really matter, as long as you have all of these. As long as you have these. So, that's all the techs done. Let's see what else is there. Affection is not something I can show you. The guide goes over what you should do for affection in great detail, so read that part. You want to also make sure you have all the overworld monuments so that you can ride Noise around. You want to have all of the memory circles unlocked, though honestly that's not really important. That's really just so that you can create saves at some point to practice with. You also want to have at least 8,665 grade. You can run with a little bit less. That just allows you to know you have everything. You also want to have at least 3 million Gald. And finally, set up your controls the way you like. I recommend having L as defend. I also use X as unison attack, but you will probably want Z as unison attack instead. I just prefer X myself. So, also if you do not want to go and set all of this up, I will have a link with both this file that's right before fighting Mythos, you just have to run up and fight him, as well as the file that is starting the new game after you have already defeated Mythos. I believe as I am doing this, it might not be completely up to date, but it will be very, very soon. So that is all for the pre-setup before I actually do the whole run.